had the no one gets me-itis. It's where you do things or say something and people just really don't understand what you're talking about. And I'm not talking about not being smart enough or not knowing the topic that you were speaking of, but when you are presenting something or saying something or showing something which makes perfect sense to you and you know exactly how you're looking at it, why is it that someone else doesn't understand what you're trying to talk about? And I'll give you an example. So the other day I was working on my computer and I was using ChatGPT and I can't remember what I was typing about. But at some stage during that time, my keyboard, the computer decided just to continue typing. So it started where I started typing and I could see the letters that it was typing. Then it sort of ghost typed, which looked like it was typing the words, but you couldn't see them. So the space, the little cursor was still moving. And then I thought, okay, I'll just click enter and see if it got the rest of what I was typing in. And it did. It gave me the results. I thought, okay, it's just not showing me what it's actually typing. Fine, whatever, glitches, happens all the time. But then it kept doing it. And then even when I tried to refresh the page, it would just do this space. And I couldn't tell if it was typing anything. Everything I tried to do then, it wouldn't respond to. So I hopped out of what I was doing and I thought I'll go try use something else. I went into spreadsheets and it was doing the same thing. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong. I'm just going to have a little sleep for a little bit. And if you have a Mac and depending on how you set it up, when you use the mouse and swipe up, well, for me, it's set up in the top left-hand corner, it goes to sleep. So I did that because I thought, okay, I'll let you have a little rest. And as soon as I did that, it went to the blank screen. I was still open up on the Sheets page. And once it was on black screen, it turned itself back on, and where it had been doing that, not seeing anything type and just sort of moving the cursor along like it was typing, it just said on. Like it was literally written in the cell of the spreadsheet on, O-N. And it's funny, at the time I actually thought, and if anyone's watching or has been watching The Mandalorian, I just thought of Grogu saying, no, once you got a robot. And me talking about that, you won't get that. This is the whole point of my conversation today is, so I created a short video because with my current experience and the things that happen around me, I didn't see it as, oh, there's something wrong with my computer. Oh, my keyboard must be stuck. To me, it was more of having a openness to the awareness of a few different things like, oh my goodness, is my computer alive? Or, wow, is someone trying to contact me? Or, you know, is it because I was using ChatGPT and that's the AI talking to me? Or is it because something out there is telling me, no, you're not in charge of what's happening. I am, and I am telling you that this is staying on. So they were the thoughts that I was thinking about. And so I thought, I'm going to create a short little video that I can put across my social media to show others, because that's the thought pattern I was thinking from. I was thinking from, you know, the old question, is there anybody out there? What's happening? Is there more to what we know and what we experience? And if you know anything about me, you know I am all about the everything else, not the standard, this is all there is, full stop, and a discussion. So once I created that video, it's interesting, the responses that I'm having is, oh, maybe you need to clean your keyboard, maybe you need to restart your computer. And they were all helpful responses, but they were literal. Maybe I don't resonate with being literal anymore. Maybe it's too hard for me to be so blatantly obvious in the things that I'm talking about, and I am trying to say things or show things in a way that are so complex and so more thoughts behind the scene that people just aren't getting what I'm saying. And this is a struggle that it's so much more present now that I can explain things to people and they're looking at it from a different level. It's like, I'm going to use the old onion. Like if you held an onion up, still with its outside on, and went, oh, what's this? It's an onion. And imagine that people just look at that onion and see it as an onion and go, well, that's an onion, obviously, because I know what an onion looks like. But where I'm talking about that onion could be at the center core of that onion, the layer that's right inside. But no one can see that because all they can see is the standard, normal looking onion because it's still got all its skin on. So when I'm talking and posting and creating videos, people are seeing that onion. They're seeing the logical, complete and processed onion. Yet what I'm talking about the inside of the onion. And it can get really frustrating. It can get, am I not saying things right? Am I not talking to the right people? Am I not making my words clear enough so people understand what I'm talking about? And it's the same when people judge you because of words that you use, or because of images that you have, or because of things that they see in your visible presence, whether it's with graphics or videos or the tones that you use. People will make assumptions based on that outside first layer version of what they see without knowing that there's a whole depth behind whatever that thing is. And I was recently doing some graphics for someone the other day, and I was thinking about how many layers I think about it when I create things. So you may look at an image and in the background there's this super washed out, grey faded pattern or image or words or whatever that you could hardly see in the background. And you may not even see it unless I brought it up or if I pointed it out. But the essence of what that was and what it represents and why I put it there, the meaning of why I thought that font or that image or that color would match with what we're actually creating, has so many levels to it, yet to the everyday eye, no one would see that. And even if they did see it, even if they did notice what that thing was in the background, they wouldn't know how many layers of thought were attached to what that image was. But the energetics are there. The intention is there, and that's what makes it so special. So when you come from such a depth of doing things, and I know I have... This has sort of been the aspect of who I am and how I do things, where I am always thinking on all these different levels at once, even though on the surface it may just look like one level. It's the outside of the onion, but I'm thinking on every single other layer of that onion on the inside. And that isn't to say, oh, wow, look at me, I'm so amazing. It's just the way I think. And the more I create and the more I experience, the more I learn, the more I move through, the more in depth my thought gets, the more I think about things and how I do them and how they relate to something else, the more intentional I am with everything that I do. Of course, though, not everyone thinks like that. So when we're presenting things, when we're talking to people, people aren't seeing that. People aren't getting all those layers from behind you. They are only seeing what they see. They are only connecting to the part that they can connect to. And it brings up that whole question of, well, do I need to make it easier or more simple for people to understand what I'm saying and what I'm trying to present in a way that looks and feels more logical and more obvious when looking at the image or reading the words or listening to what you're saying? Or do you know and allow that the people who are going to understand the depth of what you're saying and what you're doing and what you're creating are going to find you. They're going to understand what you're saying. They're going to understand what you're doing because you are intentional with the work that you're doing. You're intentional with the words that you're writing and what you're speaking. Or can you present things in a way that you can attach to all levels of people, where you can have a literal meaning on the outside and have all those layers behind for the people who are going to get it on those layers. Even right now, as it just reminded me, I'm writing my book, and there are so many layers to it that I am trying to portray, not just in the words that I write, but in the essence of how I'm writing it, where I'm writing it from, the way that the chapters capture the essence of so many things. And I know most people won't get it, but for me, it's a way of bringing things together. And this is something that I've always done. And this is the essence of who I am. And this is the part of me that just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And it's not just with one thing. It has always been the pulling of things together and working with a multitude of things at the same time in order for them to create something. And it's funny, I'm just sort of making this real sort of connection and realization as I'm speaking, because you can apply that to anything. It's not just in, for instance, graphic design. Like, yes, there's a lot of thought that goes into it with the colors and the patterns and the shapes. But it's not just that. It's the way that you write a post, the way that you create an offer that you want to sell to people, the way that, even for me, on a spiritual level, the way that I could connect to different things on different realms and different levels, the way that I can speak to different people with different beliefs and still hold on to the essence of who they are and the person that they are, not judging or looking at them for just the belief that they have or the way that they present things or the way that they do things, even down to the way that I cook a meal. There's so many different layers and levels to it when you're cooking. Like, even if you are using multiple different appliances, or using the stovetop and the oven and a rice cooker all at the same time, you're still doing things on these different levels and these different layers. And it's not just ABC 1, 2, 3 on top. It's all these different little pieces that you're putting together to create something. And as we do more and more of those things, there's a level of experience that happens as you continually grow and as you continually change and intentionally try to get better at whatever that thing is that you enjoy doing. All things, because, if you're anything like me, there's going to be a lot of different things that you do. But it's just really become the essence of who I am. And this is also one of the reasons why I'm so good at the things that I do. This is why I can help so many people when they are in that creative space and they're trying to get a multitude of offers or things out on social media, that I can help them because I can put all these pieces together. Because that's how I think. I think on these multiple layers. This is my thing. This is the thing that I can do in such an easy way. Like, for me, it would be boring and difficult for me if I had to do it on a single layer. I think that's the only way to put it. If there's not depth and many arms and different processes for me to work on at once, it's not for me. And, you can see that reflected in my businesses as well. This is why I do operate on so many levels and so many different things at the same time, because I need that depth and those different layers, because that's just what makes me me. I'm just an onion. But I can tell you, as someone who does write a sentence and it's coming from a place of so many levels, it can be frustrating when people connect to it just on one level. It's like, damn, you didn't get what I was saying, because I was trying to, talk about it from this side and this side and this layer and this layer and this thing, but you're only trying to get the surface thing. And I mean, it's kind of cool because I do want you to understand what I'm doing, but it would be really nice to have more people who got that depth and those pieces behind it. But all those pieces behind it, all those layers, all those other bits that you were putting together, they're all the parts that make you you. They are the uniqueness of who you are based on your experiences, your things that you were learning, the way that you were growing and moving through your own things is the way that your levels will deepen and the way that you are going to start changing looking at things. So what do you do if nobody gets you? And I actually don't have an answer to that. I thought I'd come on here and I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to find the answer and I'm going to share it with everyone and give you some insightful responses and say, this is how you get through it. But it's not. It's moments like these that you're like, damn. It's pretty lonely when you're in your own self and your own knowing and your own being. It can be lonely. You can connect to people on so many different things, but it's hard to find just one person who's going to get all those layers and those levels. And in moments like this, even though, I know my husband wouldn't have really understood or seen or felt or known the things that I do, he still would have been supportive in a way that still allows you to feel, well, at least this person believes in what I'm saying and doing, even when they don't understand what you're saying and doing. They still believe in you. Maybe that's the reason that we do sort of try and find a partner, so that even if they do get you on so many other levels, that even on the things that they don't get about you, they're still there to support you. And it's not just a partner, it can be friends, it can be family, it can be other things as well. But I'm not going to lie that I'm pretty sure for a lot of people who feel that it's like, man, if someone could just get me on every single layer of what I'm talking about, like, that's amazing. And it's funny, one of the things that I find is that when you do have different depths of things that you like, things that you know, things you enjoy, the things you want to share, you can connect to different people in those different areas. So you could have one person who you can connect to because you like watching the same movies. And then you could have someone that you connect to because they're super spiritual and they're just like you and they like to think big and have big questions and have all these new awarenesses that they want to share with you. Or you can connect with someone who might have 5 different things that you enjoy doing and you connect with them. And we end up with this group of people that collectively will get you, but it's not just the one person. It's these different people with these different layers, levels of who you are. And it reminds me of our engagement party. When my husband and I had our engagement party, we always decided that the engagement party was going to be the big one and the wedding was going to be small. So because I think we were only together for like a year or something before the engagement party. So we had different groups of friends. You would have the friends that you were friends with together. You would have the work friends. You would have, your local friends. You would have the people you grew up with or people you knew from this circle, or when you used to be into this thing, then you'd have a circle of, family and all these different groups. And I still remember, I can still see that image in my head of all these different groups of people. And they were small groups because you just had these friends in different circles and different sections at our engagement party because they're all from different aspects of who you are. And like at most parties, a lot of people don't go and mingle with people outside of their group. So you'll get all the work people who hang together. You'll get all your, local friends that are together. You'll get all the family together. And that's the same as we, continue through this this journey that we're on, that we will have those different groups of people that we can connect to on different levels. And I'm not saying everyone does, but I know for me that is definitely something that I understand so much even more, is how people can connect to you just because of those different layers of who you are, those different levels of what you believe in or what you know, what you express. But this whole talk was designed over the basis of me doing that video under a whole other different reason and way I wanted people to open their eyes, but it's sort of, reflected back into me of more of people just seeing the whole onion instead of seeing the layers and the depth inside. So I think, though, even when we still feel disconnected from the message that we're sending out and what's coming back to us, and even in those moments where we are feeling alone because we're feeling like no one gets us, we need to know that it will pass, and we just got to keep speaking our own voice, our own message, and we will find those people that we want in our lives, that we want to experience that connection with, just by us continuing to speak on all those layers. And we will attract those people we need to in whatever layer they are on. So go start sharing all those layers of your onion.